1090 AM, WILD, a Radio 1 station, is doing their part to measure the movement. Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network proudly presents Measuring the Movement, a TV1 special presentation hosted and moderated by Tom Joyner from the Tom Joyner Morning Show and Roland Martin from TV1's Washington Watch, live from New York. And now, time to measure the movement, courtesy of TV1.
And a reminder, 1090 AM WILD here in Boston is the only African-American radio station that is representative of what the Reverend Al Sharpton, Tom Joyner, and Roland Martin and others are putting together to measure the movement. Hosted and moderated by Tom Joyner and Roland Martin.
We're back here at the First Corinthian Baptist Church in Harlem. Tom, folks are commenting on the web. What are they saying?
I have 4 kids, 12 through 17. I can't afford any of the YMCA summer programs or any of the camps that their schools offer. What should I do? Philip from Detroit.
All right, Tom, thanks a bunch. Congressman Clyburn, I wanted to go to you. We're talking about this whole issue of politics. Obviously, voting is one aspect, but policy is another. And so when it comes to some of the critical issues targeting African Americans, what will you be focusing on trying to drive through Congress to address issues such as that and others?
Well, let me begin by thanking you, and thank you, Brother Sharpton, for having us here. Let me focus on what we need to do to regain this momentum. We did lose momentum. We lost it because I think we stayed a little too long trying to do 60 votes. When we got around to being real, knowing full well the other side was not going to give up the filibuster, and we got the 50% plus one, I think that what we did with health care reform was the first step to get to regaining the momentum. A lot of people missed it, but we also, at the same time that we were doing health care reform, we did tremendous reform to education. We have gotten Pell Grants where they have never been before. We have gotten historical black colleges and universities where they've never been before. I think we've taken 2 significant steps to regain this momentum.
What's next? What's next?
Next is we're going to do financial regulatory reform. I think we will start that in the Senate next week. We are going to do something about energy, and we are going to do a big summer jobs program, and then we'll follow that with sustaining the jobs program.
All right, Leslie?
Yes. Relative to the reclaiming of the election and the momentum, every movement for social justice in America has been spawned and developed on the campuses of college campuses of this nation. We have 105 historically black colleges and universities, 75 predominantly black institutions, 500,000 students enrolled who are there, who are ready, who are eager to take on the leadership, to get into the trenches, to get out the vote. We understand that many of the parents are working 2 and 3 jobs and can't go to all of the meetings, but our college campuses are the spawning ground for the next leaders who do have time, who will go into the communities. And relative to the sister's question about what can she do with her students, by strengthening HBCU college campuses, as Congressman Clyburn and all of you who helped us do with the $1.5 billion, our campuses are the epicenters of activities in the communities. There are PBIs in Detroit, to the sister who called. There are PBIs here in New York.
Predominantly black institutions.
Predominantly black institutions. Our campuses are places where our students can come. They can use our facilities, our pools, and so forth. So strengthening HBCUs, the nation's historically black colleges and universities, is the answer to so many of our issues, whether or not it's the economy, whether or not it's after-school activities or voting activities.
I'm going to fire them. I'm going to go to Mayor Nutter. Go ahead.
Well, frankly speaking, I think we have to do what Carter G. Woodson told us to do 80 years ago, and that's to end the miseducation of the Negro. How do we do that? First, we have to start talking about Back Street, not just Main Street and Wall Street. And number 2, the civil rights movement and settlement in the South did not just start. It took years, but it was grassroots organizing door by door. That's what SNCC did. That's what the Black Panther Party. We're not doing that. We are relying on elected officials to do the work of the people. I submit to me that we have to start a new movement, and I would like to call it the Cocoa Party, the party of the children. Every time the Tea Party shows up, the Cocoa Party must show up to show the party for our president.
Mayor Nutter. Mayor Nutter, here's here. Mayor Nutter, is very simple. The folks in the Tea Party are taking advantage of the constitutional right. Like it or not, they're showing up and they're showing out. Other folks are sitting at home. You can hate on them, but if you're at home, I say shut the hell up. Now, Mayor Nutter, you're mayor of a city in terms of, from a political standpoint, what must be happening in our cities. Congress is one thing, but in our cities, that's what folks are most affected.
We'll go back to the earlier question, and I also want to thank Reverend Sharpton and the network for the opportunity. The question was, the lady has 4 children, can't afford the YMCA.
Right.
The issue there is, and I'm not suggesting what Mayor Bloomberg should do, or I guess that was Detroit, Mayor Bing. You either have to find an alternative at maybe a city recreation facility, or figure out how to subsidize the cost at the YMCA. That's on the ground. What really has to happen in cities, when you talk about jobs are going to happen in cities and metro areas. And I appreciate the great work that our Majority Whip did with regard to the Economic Recovery Act. But in many cities across America, those dollars have still not gotten to the cities. It went to the states. I don't want to start a state versus city fight. Okay. If you want to put people to work, they are going to get work in cities, either save jobs or put people in jobs. In the Recovery Act, the dollars are flowing, but we need more. And we also need to figure out what's going to go on the FY11 budget.
Don't we need a massive jobs bill?
Well, I think the representative talked about jobs, and we absolutely need a massive jobs bill.
Jobs bill. I'm not talking about.
I would agree.
We do need a massive jobs bill, and we've got a 6-point plan, and there are 2 jobs bills, big jobs bills that have been proposed.
And of course, that is political. We're going to deal with that in our economic panel.
We also need people to go to job training programs.
All right, Charles Ogletree, I want you to make a quick comment before I have to go to the next question. Then,
I want some of that cocoa rolls. Someone's talking about our children. But here's the point.
Watch out, Doc. Cocoa's something different than Harlem.
I didn't say cocoa. Here's what's happening. We have to realize what we already have. This president and this Congress passed $817 billion from stimulus packages. It's there, and you're not getting it because governors are not getting it to the cities. We have to be accountable for that. Number 2, what is equally important is that we have to make the president accountable. I'm not afraid to make him accountable. I know him better than anyone else on this panel or in this audience, right? And I know his heart and his soul and Michelle's heart and soul. He likes criticism. So let's tell the president what we want and what we need, but let's realize he's not a legislator. He's not on the Supreme Court. He should be. But he is someone who's going to make an enormous amount of difference in our economy, so let's make sure that we support the president to get a jobs bill that puts people back to work, and tell that sister, we'll put her in touch with Dave Being, we'll put her in touch with Congressman John Conyers, Congresswoman Carolyn Kilpatrick. We have the resources. Let's talk about our own people to get something happening in our own community
Question from
right
now. Question from the audience with Tom.
Okay. By the way.
Actually, it's a comment, not a question, but go ahead.
Okay. Are you going to be on the short list for the Supreme Court?
I already have a job, Tom. There's some wonderful sisters who should be on the short list for the Supreme Court.
All right. Meet Maxine Montano, and she's talking about bipartisanship to get focus on the people.
Right. My concern as a political activist, and also concerned about the Harlem neighborhood and the neighborhood of people of color everywhere, I just want to know what we do about bipartisan politics. And I want to commend the National Action Committee Network and Reverend Sharpton for having both party people here, each one of the party heads here at the convention, and we need to reach out more to each party. But what I want to do is that ask our political leaders, national, local, and state, to get back on one page, not just the party page, but on the people's page.
Great point. All right, going to a break right now, and so when we come back, I'm going to have Angela Saylor jump in to speak to that. But also, when we come back, I want to, folks, we go around the horn on this whole issue of politics specifically. What are you going to commit to the next 12 months to address that particular issue, whether it's voter empowerment, whether it's policy, whatever, as we come back. So, folks, stay tuned. Again, we'll be back with their particular commitments. You can also send us a tweet at TV1TV. Also, shoot us an email on the blog at blackamericaweb.com. We'll be back in a moment.
Stay tuned for more of Measuring the Movement, and stay with News Talk 1090 AM WILD Boston, where information is power.